Hello, everybody. Welcome to Never Mind the Buy Box. Just let me know if you can see and hear us okay. I know StreamYard was going a bit slow yesterday, but hopefully we will be live now. I'm joined by the amazing Jonny Smith today, who's going to be talking to me about, we're going to be talking about his journey, things like that, how he started, why he started, and warehousing as well, because I know Johnny's got a warehouse himself, and I'm sure it's very impressive as well. You've got a very impressive operation going. So just drop us a comment if you can see and hear us okay. I'm not sure if we're live yet. Just checking. We are live.
We're live, yeah.
I think we're live.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. It's a bit slow. It it takes a while to push it. Sometimes it's not showing on YouTube yet.
Ooh.
Not showing on YouTube. Should be. It's being pushed to YouTube. Maybe it's just a bit behind. Sometimes I say it takes like a minute or two for StreamYard to catch up. But Facebook's good.
Yeah.
Got a couple of people.
Yeah, you can see me. See, I'm in a warehouse from the pipes behind me. Yeah. Got the retro look.
That's cool. Yeah. So Hayden's on anyway. Hayden's on Facebook. Ben's joined us. Hello to you. Let us know how you're getting on. How today is. Just wait for a few more people to jump on as well.
Yeah, it's live on YouTube now.
It's live on YouTube. Oh, awesome. There we go. People jumping on now.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the pipe comments. First pipe comments come in.
Thank you. It's my interior design of my office.
It's edgy though, isn't it? People like that kind of warehouse rustic look. Emma's joined us. Hello, Emma.
Keeps it bougie. Yeah.
Does keep it bougie. Yeah. Ben's waiting for some pallet collections. Are you smashing the pallets at the moment? I know you're big on pallets, aren't you, Johnny? You like bringing containers and ship out pallets and stuff, don't you? So
yeah, we just we just sold a bunch actually. We had to sell the blue proper ones that you sent to Amazon. We only got like £1.50 for it. We probably can get more from it, but just our whole warehouse was just too many pallets. Yeah,
that's the problem, isn't it? You keep them. I know I do the same. You pile them up outside, and then you're like, I need to get rid of these. And you get rid of them. You either give them away or you sell them for a couple of quid. Yeah. And then you're like, then a deal comes up, and you're like, oh, I really need some pallets now. So you end up paying money for pallets. It's an absolute nightmare. But you can't just keep them forever, can you? Because they take up so much space.
Well, now we have the German company. We need to actually, I think, buy in the Euro pallets, but we're usually just giving away loads. So it's a mix of selling the good ones and then giving away the bad ones. And then now I think we've got to start buying in the Euro pallets to send to Germany. You know more than me. I've just started it. So, yeah.
Yeah, we'll discuss that today because I know. Yeah, so you've done it a bit differently to me because I sell in Europe, but my kind of setup's all outsourced. So I have a company that acts on my behalf, whereas you've gone a different route and you've set up an actual German company, haven't you? So we'll talk about that a bit more today as well, because I know that's be interesting for a lot of people. And I mean, I think now with Brexit, I'm sure you'll agree, the only real way to sell big in Europe is to take that step and either outsource it and get somebody to act for you or set up a company yourself. I think you'll agree there's no real easy way of doing it anymore since Brexit.
Well, with the EFN coming back, a lot of my products, actually 99% of my products are ineligible for EFN. So the cross-border selling doesn't work for my products. It's I can't pronounce that word. Ineligible. That's my dyslexia coming.
Ineligible.
Yeah. So it's the only way, really. Yeah, I think it's going to work pretty well. I'm pretty confident about it. It's such a big market. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's start at the beginning. So tell me a bit about you, what you do, how and why you started.
Yeah, sure. So I started on eBay in private label like 15 years ago now. So selling.
You've been in the game a long time then.
Yeah. So I was only seriously full time for the last 4 years, I think. Well, I say only 4 years. It's gone by pretty quickly. But yeah, 15 years ago, I was importing from China silk ties, like 100% silk ties, and then flipping on eBay. I was doing other things like sandals and just stuff like that, and just like the clothing sort of lines. And it was cool. I mean, it wasn't that profitable, but I ran it through university, selling ties on the side. it wasn't a big business. You know, there's a lot of things I would have changed with like the branding and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, that's sort of, I sold out and then just sort of stopped it. I think we got like eBay top rated. It was pretty good. I know it's not a big achievement anymore, but it was back in that day for myself being at that age. Then yeah,
I remember being a power seller as well. That was a big achievement.
A power
Getting
seller.
your little shooting star, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was for like during uni and before. And then I went and worked for my dad's company, who worked for like a PCB company, electric circuit board company. And what I was doing for 4 years is basically arbitrage, almost arbitrage. I was buying components that go on the PCBs and just buying them for as cheap price as possible. So building supplier relationships to get these components as cheap as possible, and then would sell it on, as well as the assembly work for these components. So it actually completely ties into Amazon. So I got a lot of my expertise in procurement and sourcing from that. And then about 4 years ago, I started on Amazon again. Started with the car boot sale, and then went on to OA, and then went on to RA. Got suspended for 4 months. I was like, fuck, this is doesn't work. I got, I was suspended for 4 months, but I kept pushing on. I didn't give up, and then just went fully into wholesale. And since then, I've built up. We're closing on sort of top 500 business in Amazon now. Got an eBay store. Like I said to you yesterday, I got a Shopify store now. Got OnBuy, but 0 sales on OnBuy. But multi-channel sort of e-commerce, but the main one is Amazon, and I think we're in our category, probably one of the largest in our category. So that's in the space of sort of 3 years, and it being our own warehouse 9 months, which is obviously really helped with the growth. Yeah.
That's amazing though. From 3 years, basically, I know you've been in the game for 15, but really it's only 3 years where you've taken it seriously. And to go from that to where you are now is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm fortunate that I started a long time ago. My whole sort of job before that was very similar to Amazon. I had a pretty good starting capital. Like I was in property before, so I sold my flat and put money in. So I had starting capital. Got lucky during the pandemic, which skyrocketed everything. There's such good sort of lending with the bounce back loans and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean, it's been, I'm in a fortunate situation where now it's my full-time income, and get to be an entrepreneur where I can work 24/7. It's great. Yeah. Instead of the 9 to 5, now working for 24/7 as a full-time.
Yeah, that's what people don't realize. Yeah, you stop the 9 to 5, and you just end up being 24/7. Never stop. So you're always on call. There's always something going wrong. You can't stop refreshing that Amazon app. I tell you, I've got a proper addiction to that. Just refresh.
Yeah. So I think there's just a few questions with.
So it's absolutely an amazing journey where you've come from. Absolutely amazing. So if we just jump to a few of the questions, I know Harminder's joined us. Natalie's on. Hello to you. So Emma said, surprised with no sales with OnBuy. Never tried it personally, but forever coming up in Google searches. We were discussing this yesterday, weren't we? So you've not had any success with OnBuy, have you, at the moment?
So the problem is the integrations between Amazon and OnBuy, and then Shopify and OnBuy. It's pretty fiddly to add all your different products to OnBuy. You kind of have to go through each sort of barcode and add that way, and add it all individually. So I put sort of my top products. I put my top products up, and I've got no sales. I think I got one sale for something I mispriced accidentally. So I actually got the reduced membership fee now, because I think the professional one was like £38.99. I was like, I'm not making that back. So I think I've reduced it down to £19.99. But I thought I'd give it a go, just see how it's going, and it just hasn't worked for my category. I think for yourself with higher value products, it probably works better. For me, being in sort of groceries mainly, it just didn't work. Maybe there's a way. Maybe there's someone that can help who's had success in the grocery market there, but not for me. Yeah.
I'm always keen to implement new platforms, but I think it's got to be done in the right way. You can very easily end up with shiny object syndrome, can't you? And I think the problem is what people don't realize is when you implement a new platform, you need to do it in a way that you have the resources to invest in it. So it's an addition, because what happens is sometimes is you go to OnBuy, you put your effort into OnBuy, and then your Amazon drops down or your eBay drops down because all you've done is move resources from one platform to another platform. So it's got to be done in the right way that you can then add on to that. So it's an additional platform, in a way that's not going to have any impact on your current business, and that's quite a hard thing to do. I think it's very difficult to manage and get that right.
Yeah, definitely. Just the same thing could be said for the sort of Shopify I'm starting now, because now I've realized that I have to sort of get my own traffic to Shopify rather than let Amazon do it. And it's a completely different skill set. And, it's thinking, do I hire someone? Do I learn it myself? And it's, something I'm not really that well versed in is that side, but it's something I obviously want to do to diversify. And, so, that takes a lot of resources and takes a lot of my resources to train myself. So at least I can know what I'm looking for. I've got a general idea, but I'm not an expert. And yeah, you're right. If I'm spending more time on Shopify or OnBuy, then I'm spending less time on working on the systems of Amazon and growing that, which is the breadwinner, really, isn't it?
But then again, I think the difference with Shopify is a little bit of its own thing, because OnBuy is just another marketplace. And again, eBay, these are great marketplaces and the great additional revenue streams, but they're not going to ever make you rich, I would say. You can earn a good income. A Shopify store has potential for resale value in a way that none of the others do. You can build a brand, a business, your own domain. No one's going to tell you what to do. No one tells you what you can and can't sell. You own your customers, you own your data, and that can build your business of real value. So Shopify is perhaps one that is worth diverting resources to from a longer term perspective. And I can tell you from experience that Shopify is a slow burner. You're probably going to be, eBay, Amazon particularly, you can put an item up and you can sell it in 10 minutes. Whereas Shopify, you're probably going to be looking at, I think we were 8 months from development to our first sale. And I'm sure I don't know how many sales you're getting, but probably similar story for yourself.
On Shopify?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on 0 sales at the moment. I mean, we haven't done any advertising yet. It's only just got to a stage where, it looks okay and it looks clean and all the navigation is okay and stuff like that. So it's a project we're going to start in the next sort of few days once all the sort of verifications and trust pilots and Facebook page and that credibility sort of thing is up and running, so we don't just look like a dodgy sort of website. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
We chatted about it yesterday. That is the hard part, isn't it? It's the credibility, which is why Amazon. I think when you run a Shopify store, you actually realize how valuable Amazon's traffic is. And I've certainly turned my feeling towards the fees. I thought that they were a rip-off at first, but actually, when you start paying for your own traffic and you realize how much effort it is to convert that traffic, Amazon gives you on a plate. I think their referral fee is actually quite reasonable. When you factor that kind of effort to gain the traffic.
Yeah, I've never understood when people said it's a rip-off, like Amazon fees. This is an absolute joke. How it's insane how cheap it is. Like the storage is incredibly cheap. You're getting the same day delivery for like £2, around £2. It keeps changing, but and you used to get Small and Light for £1.40 same day delivery, and me and you obviously know how much it costs to actually pay for the packaging, pay for the picking fee. So the staff has to pick it and then pay for Royal Mail or Amazon shipping and then ship it off. So you're getting that for £1.40. It's incredible, and you're paying cheap as chip storage as well. So I've never understood it when people say Amazon is expensive. It's got insane fees. It's so.
Yeah, I think it's fair value, definitely for what you get for it, particularly the fulfillment by Amazon is like you say, it's not just the shipping. I think people who don't have a warehouse, like myself and you, we understand all the other costs that come with it, and that forms part of the shipping cost. It's not just the postage, it's the packaging, it's the labor, it's the storage. You got to pay someone to put it on shelf. It's not just taking it off a shelf. Someone's got to put it on a shelf, and there's all these other little bits and pieces that go into that equation that often aren't factored in. Not just it's £2.40 to ship with Royal Mail.
Yeah, definitely. You got to look like. My staff are getting better at packing orders now. But yesterday they did a record and did 180 one of the staff members did 190 orders themselves. So what, 190, £10 an hour, so 80 quid for the day, divided by 190, it's about 40p at the very best per staff member as a picking fee. That was very quick maths, which is probably wrong, but yeah, you're looking at 40p plus, say raw mail track 24 is probably like 350, I would say, for most people.
Yeah.
I think we've got about 340, 350. I know Amazon shipping is around £3 is what they quoted us. So you're looking at plus the box, which is 20p. It doesn't matter. It depends what it is, if it's used or new or whatever. You're looking at something like for next day delivery, you're looking at almost £4, right, compared to the £2. So you're paying double. Yeah,
100%. I'll just go back to a few comments. I know Hayden says it's very easy to not give yourself enough credit. It's great what you've done with the leveraging the money. It's very smart. So totally fair play to you for that. I think for people that realize, there's opportunity always out there, and you make your own luck, and you've basically used the opportunity to make the business. Everybody had that opportunity, but it's only those that actually go out and take that opportunity that are the ones that are gonna progress and do well in business. So fair play to you for that.
What's funny with this sort of business is you never really feel rich because all the money that you're making is going into more inventory, right? So just, what I mean? Like, it's not in your bank because you're always, if your cash flow model is good, you're always minimizing that. So you always feel like you don't have much money, but it's just your inventory levels going up. So I guess that's probably why I feel like, I'm, driving like a Lamborghini around and stuff like some influencers are, right? But yeah, I mean, yeah, I appreciate that, Hayden. Nice comment. Yeah. I'm trying.
A few people have said that they've done okay on buy. So as Ben said, he sells electronics, which is very similar to me. So we'd say we've done okay with it. Maybe it's just the type of marketplace. Because obviously, again, Etsy is one that people do well on. I don't sell on Etsy because I don't sell things that will sell on Etsy. I'm perhaps the same for yourself, but I think it depends on what you sell as to what marketplaces work for you.
Yeah, I don't know. Etsy is what sort of handmade stuff, isn't it? Custom handmade. I don't know. Is Natalie selling on Etsy?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Be interesting to see how she's doing. Yeah.
So I know Hayden said that Mark does a lot on Mark Penn, who's a guy who's been on the Never Mind the Buy Box in the past, does a lot on buy. So yeah, I know Mark, but Mark does a lot of everything on anything. So yeah, he's doing very well out of it.
Well, he's got the whole European company business he works for. That's got the sort of German side, and they're massive, right? They have the best prices for that sort of brand relationship that they have, so they can get. Think about their products; it probably would work on non-buy at the prices they sell it for. Yeah, they're really on their own, aren't they? It's not really. It's kind of hard to compete with them.
Yeah, very, very much so. I think OnBuy is kind of a discount marketplace as well. I think you're probably going to do well on OnBuy if you're cheaper than everybody else, or if you've got stuff that everybody else hasn't got. So availability and price is where you can compete on OnBuy. I don't think you're going to be able to compete on OnBuy in any other real category, I would suggest.
Yeah. Well, I tried.
You tried.
I'll give it another go.
Yeah, give it another go. It's worth giving a go. But again, it's shiny object syndrome, isn't it? You want to focus on the things that are going to make you do make your business grow long term, and not just. It's very easy to kind of just flip from platform to platform and not end up in anywhere further on. A bit of everything, a lot of nothing, as they say.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, Hayden said to me, how much you sell on Shopify? So we do about 30,000 a month on Shopify at the moment. So yeah, it's decent. We're trying to grow it, but we're struggling. I think when we had a discussion about the advert stuff yesterday, didn't we? That when you get your adverts rolling, you'll have some explosive growth, and you'll go up, and then it kind of goes up in stages. So you go up, then you have to redesign your adverts, and then you flatline, then you go up again. It's kind of like a zigzag kind of shape to go up.
Is your net margin better or worse than eBay and Amazon net margin, like after ads?
After ads, it's better. but it's not much
Wow.
better. We're about 5% better off on our website.
And do you find it's a lot of multi-line orders, or is it just like one like big expensive item?
We're very single order, non-repeat customers, which is why Google is very effective for us because we drive a lot of traffic through Google. Whereas I guess if you've got a lot of repeat orders, email marketing, social media marketing is going to be a lot more important to engage your existing customers. Again, it's the thing about Shopify you don't realize is you have to really do a lot of analyzing of your customers. When they come on your site, what do they think? What do they see? Is everything where they expect it to be? Things like that. There's a lot of things that go into a Shopify site that people just don't appreciate. That there's Amazon have tons of people behind the scenes doing that. Amazon looks a certain way because they probably analyzed the data over the past 10 years and found that placing the search button in the middle is the best place for the search button, things like that. And it makes a huge difference on actually converting your traffic.
Yeah, definitely. I know I was talking to Ben, who's commenting in the groups yesterday, and he said it's all about the upsell as well. So you drag them in with that one item, and then, you put free shipping to 40 quid, that product's 30, and then you sort of get them to add the little other ones as well. I know for like multi-line orders on Amazon is always profitable. Same as eBay as well. I think that's always the best thing about FBM actually. Is it's multi-line orders, and that's where it really excels, and how you can get really good margins with merchant fulfillers.
You're really big on FBM, aren't you? Like me, I'm pretty big on FBM.
Yeah, so we actually had didn't post about this, but we had a record day where got out 600 orders yesterday. So 3 staff members got up 600 orders. I think about 580. So for us, that was that's a record sort of Monday. Obviously, Monday is always a lot higher than the rest of the week. It does taper off, because you're getting the weekend orders as well. But FBM is great, and it's hard to manage though. And the thing about my strategy is like we have, at the moment we have, I think I said to Hayden, we've got 3,500 active SKUs on Amazon, and it would be an absolute nightmare to manage if you didn't have your own software and automations and your own sort of custom built retrofit inventory management. Otherwise, it's an absolute nightmare managing all the different minimum order quantities. How do you forecast? How do you price it? Because you need to start using velocity prices, and how do you break down each order to get the correct forecasting, and which is why it's good actually, because it's harder, right? But we are quite big on FBM and getting good margins from it, and it's a nice complement to the FBA business, which is really good for scale. FBM is really good for margin and diversification and instantly selling stuff. So it's really we can go into that later.
I think we were discussing yesterday when you get a warehouse, you have a much more consideration about cash flow, and you have to make the cash flow work. And one of the best ways to do that is through FBM, because you can turn the same product around so much more quickly, can't you?
Definitely. So it's getting that sort of algorithm right as well. Like I was saying to you yesterday, if you could sell that stock in the warehouse in the next 10 days in the warehouse, you're not going to want to send that to FBA, right? Because you can sell it in that next 10 days. So what's the point of packing it, send it to FBA for it to be available to sell in 10 days and then sell it again? So you're always trying to leave sort of 7 to 10 days of stock in the warehouse, and you always want that. Oh God. You always want that sort of inventory levels in FBA warehouse incoming going to FBA, and it's really hard to juggle it around. It's taken me a year to really get that right, but it's brilliant. It's really, really good once you nail it. But it will take time. We have like we have a software developer who helps me with developing now, just to get everything, all the algorithms right. I could talk about that forever. It's something that I'm really interested in.
Yeah. Well, we'll touch back on that, because I think that's where people are really fascinated. And I think that's the reason that you've had so much success in your business, is because you do an Amazon essentially. You take data points, analyzing them, systems, and that's what's given you the ability to be able to scale so effectively.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go back to a few comments here, because I know Hayden said that he links all his products on his website to Amazon product pages at the moment. So he's got more resources to get into it. He's going to just do it that way. So, that's a great way of doing it as well. There's a lot of different tools you can use that I think we both use ours through Shopify, link the two together. And then you have all your image in Shopify and it pushes it to all the different platforms, doesn't it?
Yeah. So at the moment we're going to change this because that's another conversation, but we basically have the ability now to automate purchase orders and replenishing, which is pretty insane. So we can basically click a button and it will know exactly how much to order. And I'll go into that another time, maybe later. But yeah, we basically push everything to Shopify, and Shopify pulls it. My warehouse management system pulls it from Shopify, and then all my Amazon SKUs and then linked to my Shopify components, right? So I have like 2 uploaders. So I'd upload a Shopify uploader, so it's upload to Shopify, then my warehouse management will pull that in from Shopify, and I have an Amazon uploader which is linked to the management system as well. So it's all linked up. It's a really good system, but I don't touch it anymore. That's all the VAs doing that sort of thing. Yeah, so you can upload, but it's like you upload bundles basically to Mintsoft. Yeah.
That's amazing. So go on then, tell me a bit about your systems then, because I know this is something. You're a bit of a passion project for you, isn't it? All your systems.
Yeah. So there's always I don't know whether to. I was talking to you yesterday. Do I release it commercially and leave, and then other people? I don't know yet. Yeah. Basically, we have this thing where we can forecast, and we basically, every ASIN has like a pack of 2, pack of 3, pack of 6. Maybe that product, can be in a variation bundle. So it could be like a chocolate and strawberry flavor. So because everything is in, 20 different SKUs, how do you know how many of that one component do you need to order? Because it's in a 2-pack, 3-pack, 6-pack. Maybe you had 10 cells of a 6-pack. Maybe you had 3 cells of a 3-pack. So what our system does, it breaks it down into components and then forecasts it. It aggregates it, and then you can forecast based on that, so you know exactly how much of that components to buy. We also have a basically sort of semi-automated at the moment purchase order system, so we can add it straight to the purchase order, and then from our software we can send the email purchase order to the client. So we can do purchase orders in about 20 seconds now and send the email across. Wow. And we basically just go add, and it tells you exactly how many to order, which is about 6 weeks of FBA, 2 weeks of FBM, and then it takes into like lead time and all that sort of different algorithms. And press a few buttons and it comes, and takes a while to get there. And like I was saying before, you also need to get the algorithm. There's 2 algorithms. There's another algorithm of like how many do you want to send to FBA as well, right? So there's the algorithm, how many do you want to order to the warehouse? And then there's another algorithm, how many do you want to send to FBA? And we have another system as well that my warehouse manager uses. So he'll go onto our software called Forecaster, and then we'll basically he'll create a shipment, and it'll tell you exactly how many you need to send to FBA, which is in stock in the warehouse right now. So as soon as he checks it into the warehouse, which we have no sort of software, he'll see a pop-up saying send to FBA, add it all to a shipment. That will go on the shipment. Then we use the Amazon MWS, so we can keep adding to that shipment. We get to 4 or 5 pallets and we send to FBA. So that's one algorithm. The other one is ordering the stock to the warehouse. It's a lot of different things going all at once, but it's it's
amazing though, isn't it? And that's the the game changer for you that's made your business grow. How many staff have you got working for you at the moment?
So I have 6 in the warehouse. So I have what's the hierarchy? So we have a warehouse manager. We can talk later more about what I think about how to hire and stuff like that, because I've learned a lot in the last year. Then I have a stock controller who's like the second. I like you're saying, I always have 2 people for one job. So the warehouse manager has a forklift license and the stock controller has a forklift license. So a stock controller is basically enabling the pick and packers to do their job basically. And then we have 4 pick packers. 1's part-time, 3 full-time. And usually like on a Monday, all 3 or 4 of them would be doing FBM. And then the rest of the week, it'd be like maybe 1 doing FBM and the rest doing FBA. But the stock controller's job is to always make sure that in front of their packing station, they always have stock to pack. And the whole objective is just to how can we send more and more orders out every month, sort of thing. So yeah, 6 in the warehouse. So we have that hierarchy of the warehouse manager. Me at the sort of top, where I'm trying to come in and be like the donut guy now. So I come in and hit some donut. That's what I'm trying to get into.
The donut guy. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. I just want to come in and see how everyone's doing. How's it going? Here's some donuts. How was your weekend? And then go back and get on with the coding and algorithms. But yeah, and then I have 4 people in my backend team. So I have 3 VAs and then 1 software developer. And I probably would need more VAs, but it's because my software takes care of a lot of the stuff, like repricing as well, and like uploading my cost of goods to my repricer. I've automated that now, so like it all does it algorithmic. This is all algorithm. So my cost of goods will get added to my repricer software, and then it will reprice based off a algorithm now. So everything like that is also all algorithmic. So you basically, I always say this in my group, you need to look, can you automate it? Can you delegate it? Or do you want to, or can you eliminate it? And as an entrepreneur, you got to think like that every day. You got to always think about those things. Yeah, so 10 stuff. It's the answer to the question. Yeah.
I like it. I know Harminder asked a question. What percentage of your sales are FBA and FBM? I think it's for both of us, but I'll let you go first.
Okay. This month, so this month we've got it's about 60,000 in FBA and 45,000 in FBM. So
big numbers.
It's about 60-40 FBA to FBM, and then yeah. So we're trying to boost the FBA. That's the thing that can scale. Yeah.
I think we're go on. Let you finish.
Yeah, so I think the FBA is amazing, but it's very, very, very hard to scale to a very big level. FBA is a lot easier to scale, and you don't need as much warehouse space. Like I was saying to you yesterday, if you start scaling FBA, you find that you don't need as big a warehouse space because we had a container come in Friday, or was it Tuesday? We've already done 4 or 5 pallets of that sort of 20-odd pallet, and already a quarter of it is. And it's slowly going down and down and down. So FBA is just brilliant for scale, and that's why FBA is so good. Is you can scale very, very quickly. Yeah.
And I think one of the things I see the beauty of FBA as well is kind of the security, because if you split your stock between your warehouse and Amazon's warehouse, then it reduces your risk for your business. Because you could easily. I'm about to say easily, hopefully it never happens, but it's realistically possible that sometimes there could be a fire, there could be a flood, there could be any kind of issue, and that could affect your entire business. But if half of your stock's in Amazon, then you've still got that kind of continuity going until you can get the problem resolved.
Yeah, I guess for yourself, you've got to worry about theft as well because you've got high value goods.
Yeah.
For myself, I don't care. I don't care. Like if someone steals some gross like £1 Weetabix from me, so it's not as big a concern because if they're going to steal a few quid's worth, then it's like, do you want to risk your job and go to prison for stealing, some Pop-Tarts? Yeah, but that's something to consider, definitely. Yeah.
So Caitlin's asked, what's your warehouse inventory system? I think you kind of touched on that anyway, didn't you, on your your process and things like that.
So I use MintSoft, and that's mainly for dispatch. The dispatch software is really, really good. But in terms of listing capabilities, it's not as good as something like Limworks. So Limworks has really good listings, not as good dispatch or mobile. You need to get like an external mobile app for Limworks. So also Limworks, they upsell a lot. So Limworks have like their warehouse management upgrade. so you don't get everything in one, which I don't like. They sell individual packages. I know you moved to the Linworks.
Yeah, we're in the process of transitioning to Linworks. It's an absolute nightmare. Never change image systems. Top tip. But hopefully, we're hoping it will work out long term. We did go for one of the top packages, so we're paying a lot of money for it. But the potential upsides are massive. So we can hopefully have everything listed in every platform simultaneously and push everything. So we can have everything FBA, FBM, eBay, Shopify, and wherever a customer wants to buy it, it'll be available for sale in its complete entirety as well, not just like bits and pieces of stock lines. Because at the minute we've got like 100. We're splitting out 30 to eBay, 30 to Shopify, 50 to FBA, that kind of way. And then we're having stuff where it's going out of stock. And then until somebody manually moves that stock, we're potentially we're missing out on sales. So hopefully that'll be a massive one for us.
Yeah. And then we have our own sort of custom software, which is the admin warehouse. It all connects with their API, MintSource API and Amazon's API and Repricer.com's API. And that's sort of like the central management system that everyone uses. We actually built we basically rebuilt a lot of the MintSoft stuff just to make it more user friendly, which is also really important, like checking in and stuff like that. And maybe you'll find out with Linworks. Maybe it's got some really good features, but we can chat about that if you want to.
Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes when we get there with it. So we're still a long way off. We're now spreadsheet manipulating data to get it in the right format. That's the problem you don't realize is we've got 90% of the data, but we now need to manually go through and get pieces of data that are missing because there's obviously no way to input this data that's required for Linworks that wasn't required for our previous system. So big long process.
Barcoding as well, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got all the barcodes. We've always had barcodes. So we have always been barcode led. So every product is stored by its barcode, but it's weights and measures. So we never used to store weights and measures of every single product.
Okay.
We used to just use raw mail, and whatever it weighed was what it weighed. It took 2 seconds to put it on. We used to have a scale. We have a scale. And you put it on the scale. It feeds that information into raw mail. So you don't have to physically type the number in. It feeds it in. But the problem with that is Linworks wants that data as part of the product. So we now have to weigh and measure every single item, which is what's taken us forever.
So our system's a little bit different. We could potentially add the weight when we check stock in, but we don't. So we actually ignore that because it delays the checking-in process. So we don't add the weight at the start when we book stuff into the warehouse. We actually add weights, the individual unit weight, when that first order of that product. When it comes to the dispatch screen, it will say it's a 0 weight. So that's when we add the weight in that process, because we find that adding the weights to the check-in booking in process really slowed everything down for us. Maybe it's different, obviously, for you guys, but for us, we have lots of different SKUs. So it just
we don't want to. We want that's how we currently run it in the same way you run it. We don't want to do it this way, but unfortunately, the system being a off the shelf it's kind of off the shelf but customized system. You have to do what they want because that's how the system works. That's the problem with off the shelf systems, is it works in a set way and you have to follow that set way, and they kind of do what most people do, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily right for your business and my business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what you do have to do a lot of custom building and tweaks and stuff with all this sort of software. And you're never going to find, another thing with software, you're never going to find a perfect solution as well. That's why sometimes you get to this level, like I guess where we're at with the warehouse and staff and doing good revenue, sometimes you potentially look at custom building something. Yeah, it takes a lot of time, but it definitely does. It is worth it after you have built it, for sure. Yeah.
It is, and these things do take time, but they are so worth it. And unfortunately, without doing this, we're not going to be able to grow as a business. We're going to flatline because if our systems aren't capable of growing, then we're never going to grow as a business.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a little example, just our booking in process, the MintSoft booking in process, to enter like the barcode, the weight, and all that sort of different, and the case pack barcode. It was on like 5 different tabs. So you imagine that when the warehouse workers had to add all the different information, had to go 5 different pages to add all this different stuff in. So what we built was just a basic UI where they check everything in on the tablet. They put like, oh, we're expecting 24. Okay, 24. Put it on the tablet. Then they have the EAN. They have the case back size and the case back EAN, and they have a little scanner on their tablet, and it increased the check-in time by 3 times. So there's always little things like that. If Ben's still here, he'll know about the checking in, because Ben Bao, he uses Minsoft as well. I think he's aware of, so I think he knows about the sort of checking in process with Minsoft, and it's always little things like that to improve.
Yeah, definitely. That's amazing systems you've got. Sean's asked a question. Do you have any Kickstart staff under 25 in your warehouse? And if so, what's your opinion on them?
No, we I think I've stopped that scheme, right?
I'm not sure.
So we applied, and then they can fulfill. The recruitment agency that we're using let us down. Then the time that ran out. My one piece of advice is try not to have too much younger staff. You need that maturity in the warehouse. Younger staff, you've got to remember this: they're living with their parents. They don't have kids. They don't have responsibilities. If they lose their job, they don't give a shit. Sorry for my language. I know it's not. It's daytime TV. Daytime TV can't. So you really, one thing I learned was when I first started, I had very young people, and it's me and 3-4 people who were all under 22. And then my warehouse manager came in and was like, look, you need to get maturity in here, because these maturity people, they will care about this sort of incentive bonus, and they will care about keeping their job. These other young people, they need that drive, and it's just different generations. So my opinion is have a few, but you don't want too many together that because they will distract each other. They love TikTok, they love Instagram and stuff like that. So definitely have maturity in your warehouse. It's one. Even if you're paying more, it doesn't matter, because you'll get a lot more output, and it would just add a maturity to your team. So that's one thing I've learned for sure, Sean.
Yeah,
so
definitely. I would completely agree with that. You want to, a few young staff are handy because they're quite fit. They're probably not likely to take sick days because they're young, but then they might come in hungover, but they don't. Generally not going to be ill or have any kind of long-term sickness, that kind of thing, ready to work. But then at the same time is they're going to be immature. They're going to need constant direction, and like you say, the biggest problem is they don't care. So it's a bit harsh to say they don't care, because I think they do care, but they don't care to the same extent. Somebody who's, say, 40, mortgage, 2 kids, is a lot more dependent on that job than someone who's 18, living with the parents. And if they get sacked, then it doesn't really have any impact. It just means they've got no beer money and they can't afford to put petrol in the car. Whereas for somebody who's, say, 40 with kids, that's their house gone, and there's a lot more kind of emphasis on doing a good job and making sure they keep that job.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that I actually rather wish I did was have a team of mature staff, but also probably be closer to like a good college or a good university, and then pick up those sort of part-time university students or college students that you can come in and they can sort of do part-time FBA stuff, because they're cheap, they're really good. That's a really good way of doing it. So if you are looking for a warehouse and you can be near a sort of university or college, that's a really good way, because it's a good job. Like if I was 18 and I was, packing different, iPhones or electronics or groceries, and, getting the odd, random food and stuff like that all the time. It's sociable, it's not customer facing. It's a really good job for people at university and college. So Sean, if you are thinking about getting this warehouse, then maybe a consideration as being situating probably closer to a college, university, because that's where you can pick up those younger people who will be a bit more academic and a bit more switched on. So that's a good tip, I think.
I mean, another risk as well with young people is they're not sort of going to stay. The problem is I've had some very good young people and they've not stayed, because the reason they're good is because they want to progress in life and they've got big aspirations. And there's nothing wrong with working in a warehouse, but if you're a Cambridge graduate, it's probably not what you're destined for.
Sure.
So I actually had an Oxford graduate work for me, and he was great, but he was never going to stay, and I knew that from the off because his career prospects were probably even higher than mine, So you just something to consider there of what these people are going to do, and if you do want people long term, then perhaps younger people are not the best answer.
Yeah, I think your core would be different to these people that you want to come in from the universities, and they want to just come in like over the summer job and just kind of help increase those numbers and to FBA. And if you're getting these younger people, the actual the packing fee for them per unit is a lot cheaper, right? And it's a good way to just get increase your output. But yeah, you're definitely right. You don't want it to be your core staff, but it's just those additions. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's Hayden said that he's just took on another VA yesterday in order to help him create more listings fast. Don't have time to create many as when needed. Do you have any VAs, or are you all like me, all just staff like in-house?
No, I have 3 VAs. Yeah. So I have one lead admin VA who's great, and she sort of manages the other 2. And all 3 of them do a mix of sorting, admin, VA. A lot of it is listing creations, to be honest. One of them is pretty good at graphics. So they're always like creating listings for me or filling out templates or doing all the sort of general admin work and stuff like that. I think the best way to create more listings are okay, so you're creating your own listings. That's a bit different. I don't know if there's a flat file for creating listings. I'm pretty sure there is. But we have a really good sort of Google template, which you just put the cost of goods in, and it will work out the margin that I set a 25% margin. So when it lists it, it'll be at 25% margin, and it sort of automatically adds all the sort of FBM SKUs and then FBA SKUs, and it's a good little template. So definitely improve your get as good template as possible if you can. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Peter said, "Is it possible to find young staff who are mature?" We just kind of answer that. Yeah, university students, part-time, great kind of fill-in
College,
staff, aren't they?
college as well.
Yeah.
We have one girl who's a machine. She's here today. She works Tuesday, Thursdays. Only 6, just turned 17, but she's incredible. She just gets on, cracks on, never sways away. She's just fully on it. She's you pick up those gold mines sometimes where they're just insane. But at the same time,
getting them to stay is the problem, though, isn't it?
Yeah. But at the same time, we had to, unfortunately, get rid of someone 2 months ago who completely ruined the whole dynamic of the team, and everyone else suffered because of this one person. So one thing about a business is you don't be afraid to cut that dead weight, because as soon as you cut that dead weight, you'll see the operations, the output go whoop. Because it's good. All it takes is that one person just to ruin the culture.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's so true. I completely agree. I've been through the exact same thing. And the thing is, as a business owner, where the thought of getting rid of them is horrible, and you don't want to do it, whether it be redundancy or firing or whatever the situation is. But then when you do it, it's a massive weight off your shoulders and your team, and the business will accelerate. So it's a necessary evil, I would say.
Exactly.
Go on.
I was actually just looking at a few of the questions, but yeah, Matt,
I was going to go to the questions as well. Cindy says, "Would be great if there was a scheme for OAPs." I think it would be quite a good scheme, but the problem is I don't think warehouse work would be great for OAPs. So I don't know about you, but mine's pretty physical.
I have a lady who's 58, and she's really good. She has a bit of back pain, but she does a lot of picking and packing. She's knackered by the end of the day, to be fair. But she really surprised, because she actually her coming into the warehouse really helped out with the other girls, because adding that maturity and that work ethic of someone who's been through it, and who's that generation they're grinders for some reason, like the plus 50s. They grind hard. They grind hard.
They do.
And she really helped with the sort of working culture, and everyone just put more in. Last 2 weeks I gladly paid out their incentive bonuses of like 10%, because they're just pushing it, where we're now actually up our targets. But for about 2 months, 3 months before she was here, they were nowhere near. And then she came in, my warehouse manager came in 2 months ago, and our output just skyrocketed.
Amazing.
That's another thing as well, isn't it? It's just, I think you've also gone on about it, saying if you go into a warehouse space, make sure you hire what you're not very good at, right? Like, I have no idea where to put pallets and how to organize a warehouse, and it's just one of those skills that takes experience. I'm not very good at managing like blue labels or blue collar workers as well. I'm just not very good at I don't know. You got to have like micromanagement and be constantly on it just to get people to motivate them. And just, it wasn't I didn't have that touch, I don't think.
I feel very similar. That I feel that people who are entrepreneurs are not good business managers, and I would openly admit myself, I don't feel I'm a very good manager, but I'm a much better entrepreneur. You know,
Exactly. That's
fighting through
exactly how I feel.
adversity,
Exactly how I
solving
feel.
problems, doing deals. That's all my cup of tea. But telling somebody they made a mistake, I just send an email and say sort it out. You know, I don't like that kind of side of it.
Yeah, so like that's why like my manager says you brought in like the Grim Reaper, the person who's going to deal with the hard work, and I just sort of sit there and just sort of like just be quiet while he handles all the sort of disciplinaries and stuff like that. But he's really, really good. And you know, he complements my skills, and this kind of brings me on to sort of another good point about like, if you're getting a warehouse, like uh, can your business afford a warehouse manager or supervisor, or do you have those expertise to manage or micromanage staff? Because I don't, and if I couldn't afford a manager, I'd be like, my output would still be shit, you know.
Yeah.
So it's another sort of interesting thing to think about.
I,
So,
I I agree. I think the first hire should be the manager, because the problem
yeah,
is, if you don't, people. I did this mistake. I got somebody who was a friend, and they were cheap and they didn't cost me much money, but I ended up spending more of my time managing them than doing the thought process was, they'll come in and they'll do this, and then I'll have more time for this. But what actually happened was, they were doing what they were doing, but then I had to spend more of my time managing them than actually
yeah,
they were doing the job. So then I actually had less time, and then people end up getting rid of these people, and they just end in a big cycle, you know, and you never get out of that cycle. So you definitely need to hire some very good people at the beginning, even though it's going to be a cost. You know, these people may cost you maybe even perhaps more than what you're paying. I'm actually not the highest paid in my company by quite a bit, actually, but you know, my managers earn more than me, but that's because, you know, that's why I wanted good people to come in and do a good job for me.
100%. It's so important, and you're bringing in someone for, you know, good money, but you know, they're increasing the output of your staff by 20%. So if you're increasing the output of a £10,000 you know, staff role by 20%, you're saving that £2,000 already, right? And also the other thing is, we're entrepreneurs, we want to create businesses, we might want to travel, we might want to go to conventions, we might want to go to Prosper in America. You know, you need that manager, so you don't want to have to deal with that stock when it goes through those doors and when it goes out. You want to deal with getting it in that door, getting it out, right? And all the processes behind it. You want to be that creator. You don't want to be the person who actually orchestrates all the different things. That's one thing. That's, as soon as we got the warehouse manager, just our numbers went up, way up, because I could concentrate on other things. And I think numbers going up, way up, probably covered his cost. So yeah, 100%. I really agree with that.
Yeah.
Really agree with that.
And Fawn's asked a good question. What's a good rate of pay for a VA? I know I can't answer that because I don't have any
VA.
VAs. Yeah.
Yeah, start them with 25,000 pesos, and then increase the one that sort of excels to a sort of lead VA, I'd say, to about 30,000. Potentially, if they're not performing, you might want to do some sort of bonus incentive. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. I know, you know, the master, I call it like Tom Parkinson, who really is the master of VAs, like has like an army of 60 of them. I think he has a 1% profit sharing model, which he shares between all the VAs. So potentially that works, but at the moment, my staff seem pretty happy. They seem to be doing their things. I don't do any sort of trackers or anything like that, because I don't want that vibe. I want them to sort of get on and feel comfortable. And then my software developer is in quite a bit more, actually. But yeah, 25,000, 30,000. You got to remember, a teacher in Philippines makes what, $300, like less than that, I think. So it's a good wage. No, it's about 350, £400 per month, Peter. Yeah, 25,000 pesos. You're looking at Mexican pesos, maybe, right? Filipino pesos.
Filipino pesos.
Yeah.
I would say I'm not 100%. Yeah, but yeah. So you're looking about $300-400 a month, though you say US dollars, so sort
Yeah,
of
full time.
£250 a month.
No, about
So
£350 I think.
£350.
Yeah. You're getting you have to leverage it. I would recommend it. It's yeah, you're looking up, I thought so. I'm looking at the Facebook comments. Yeah. It's just a sort of tasks where it's just like data filling. It's just so helpful because I'm using more of like Loom now, and just if there's anything I find myself doing for more than like 5-10 minutes, I'm like, this is horrible. I record myself doing it. I'm like, here you go. Just stuff like when a container comes in, I was filling all the commodity codes. I just paused myself. I was like, why am I doing this? Recorded how to do it, and then sent it to the VA. 6 hours later, you get it back. It's just that's the beauty of the VAs, and that's how you build the systems, right? And there's also such a good pool of staff in the Philippines. Accenture, who's a top only firm, have 60,000 Filipino VAs working for them. So
wow.
Yeah, it's only going to get better as well as more people start speaking English and more people get access to internet. And not unfortunately, but it's a world labor force now, right? Since the pandemic, everyone's transitioned, and it's a good and bad. Good for entrepreneurs, but bad for some people working maybe in London who want to work from home, because you're not going to get a London salary anymore because, hey, I can go somewhere else. But
yeah, 100%. Killian's asked a question. He says, what sort of flow do you have for them? I think it's referring to the listings, or do yours not create the listings?
Okay, so I
basically VAs.
Yeah, so I have a spreadsheet where I enter the ASIN, the title, the buy price, the minimum order quantity, and I put the margin. Then I have a drop-down box saying FBA, yes, no, and then I do that, and then I put the components in for the MintSoft components, so the actual product itself, and then I put the quantity as well. Then I have an uploader sheet, 2 uploader sheets. One goes to MintSoft, one goes to Amazon, and that one line will basically be a FBA SKU and an FBA SKU, and the sort of sell price is another sort of algorithm. You can just sort of use the I have a calculation. You can look up how do you find out your sell price from your buy price with margin, right? Maybe I'll put that as a template up at some point.
Amazing. I'm sure people would love that if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, so you can just put your buy price in of like £2, and if you put your 25% margin, you can pretty easily find out what your sell price should be. So you don't have to work out you don't have to look through the listing and be like, oh, let's make sure we put the price. You just set the margin high and then let the repricer take over.
Yeah, it's a very similar way to what we do. We have a minimum margin, and then the repricer is set at the minimum margin, and then everything just works its thing between the minimums. And someone only addresses it if it's going to go below the minimum margin. Then obviously needs actively looking at. Sometimes, obviously, one of the parts of business, you're not going to sell everything for a profit. Unfortunately, that's part of business. But yeah, that's the way it goes, isn't it?
Well, for FBM, you need for MOQ, right? You need a velocity repricer. So for a lot of the stuff, the minimum order quantities on Amazon, you have to reprice using velocity because there's no competition, right? And there's no way a repricer can determine what else is a minimum order quantity 2. So if you have a minimum order quantity of 2 and you're competing against a minimum order quantity of another 2, the repricer API doesn't know that you're competing against someone who's got an MOQ of 2. So the only way to reprice really is using velocity repricing. And in terms of the min price, I just have guards up in my algorithms, so it doesn't go below a certain percent now. So I keep that at about 10% for FBM, and FBA is a lot lower to get rid of stock. But yeah, that's the way I do it. Yeah. Complex stuff, though. So yeah.
Yeah, it is, but it's so worth it, and that's what I've spent a lot of my time doing. I'm sure you'll spend a lot of your time doing. When you get these people underneath you, your focus comes from, rather than I'm packing parcels today or I'm booking in stock today or whatever you're doing, your focus is, right, I'm going to view the process today and I'm going to look at how how we can improve the process to reduce my costs and increase the output. And that's
Every
basically
day.
what my job is and your job is. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why we built this, like the purchase order automation, where we now have a dashboard of all our purchase orders, and we can send the purchase orders by email on that dashboard. We used to create the purchase orders in Google Sheets, and I'd copy it as CSVs and send it myself. Now it's all in a dashboard with a sort of like a process like draft, approved, like Zero. It's basically like Zero purchase orders, but in our own software. We built our own sort of one. So yeah. As an entrepreneur, constantly look at your systems all the time. That's every day. Like, why am I doing this sort of thing? You got to ask yourself, like, how do I not do this job? You got to like, how do I not do this task? How do I make this easier? Rather than operating, I've said this in as well, get out of the habit of operating and get more in the habit of like, how do I not do this? Or how do I delegate? How do I automate? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah, that is literally it, isn't it? You want to basically, it's funny because an employee wants to make themselves more valuable, whereas an entrepreneur wants to basically make themselves as least required as possible and remove themselves from the business. So they're effectively not useful because they don't want to be there.
Yeah, I think like the only thing until I would get a sales manager or something like that is just being able to speak to suppliers, and that's something that I wouldn't delegate right now to like one of the Filipinos. The other process of emailing and having a whole process for finding suppliers, that can be done until I have to pick up the phone, and that's the only time I basically want to be involved in that process. And again, I think until you get to probably 8 figures, a sales manager makes sense. I don't know, maybe it's different depending on your margins, but sales managers and that's when the real costs start to add up for your wage roll. Yeah.
Peter's asked a question. He says, any tips for preventing theft of stock by employees? Is that a problem in your business?
Not really.
No, it's not a problem in mine either. I think hire good people, maybe CCTV, but then again, I don't think you want people to feel like they're constantly under surveillance. And I really don't think it's as much as a problem as people fear it would be.
It's going to happen eventually, probably. If you run a warehouse for 20 years, you will have someone stealing the odd bit. You just got to have to account for it in your numbers, I'd say, as somewhat. And also, the only thing you can really control is hiring, right, and getting it. It comes down to instinct, doesn't it, really? Because if someone wants to steal, I'm pretty sure they can find that sort of hidden spot, or they start to know the inventory management system and sort of fiddle with it themselves. The other one as well is just doing stock checks on a regular basis, so a monthly stock value check. If there's like a back order or they've skipped it, like the picking, you do to make sure your manager's doing a full analysis of like, why is this missing? How has this happened? Sort of thing. So hiring right is one, doing regular stock checks so you know the stock value in your warehouse. And then if something is not able to be fulfilled, then you need the process where the manager and the stock controller, or the manager and myself, goes through and says, why could we not do this order? What's happened? So those are three things.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. Hans has asked a quick question. Do you focus more on replans or one-off deals?
98% is replan. Yeah. And then
completely polar opposite. Mine's 98% one-off deals, and yours is 98% replans.
Yeah, so I mean, my software probably you might not be the right client, but yeah, I mean, we're basically building this new software where we have this cash flow model. We don't have enough cash. We'll basically increase the margin, and that will we're only buying the replans with a higher margin, so we can afford it. We're only buying the best SKUs. Every time, I think that's basically what we do is my VAs will look at my suppliers every few weeks, or when a new promotion comes out or a new catalog comes out, they'll quickly skim through it and see if there's anything they missed. For a lot of the new sourcing would be through new suppliers and stuff like that. But our core suppliers, you should always have like 2 to 4 core suppliers. I'm stealing that from Amazon Lit, who just said that in a video recently. You usually have like 2 to 4 core suppliers.
Yeah.
Usually like 98% of that for myself is reorders. Matt is in a complete different business model to me, and like that's why we can sort of talk a lot about this sort of thing, because he's not competing with me. Completely different business. It's very different businesses, don't we? We're very different.
Very different, but that's the beauty of Amazon, though, isn't it? And e-commerce is that we can do the same thing in completely different ways and come at it from different angles and still have success. And I think that's what makes this space so exciting, is that there's, you don't have to, just because one person's doing it doesn't mean you have to do it that way. You even have to sell the same thing at all. Everyone can have success on Amazon without somebody else having to lose.
Have you tried private label at all?
Not yet. That's definitely on the cards. I would love to do a private label brand, but
we're doing that. That's another plan of ours that I'm actually doing with my partner. We're creating a new sort of seasoning brand. So see how that goes. We're going to try it. I just thought might as well give it a try. Spoken to a lot of people doing private label, and they said, the next step is, do a bit of private label and see how that goes. I know some of the big sellers in America, like 10%, 20% of their business is usually like private label. So one thing to think about. I know Nat's the person. It's the Nat's the person, right? With that.
Yeah, definitely.
You're smashing it. Yeah.
And long term, again, more value in the private label brand, and it doesn't have to just be on Amazon as well. Private label brand, you could potentially resell. I know a few private label brands that actually sell to Amazon. They actually Amazon is one of their customers. So I think there's in a whole world of opportunity for private label that people don't just appreciate.
Yeah, a lot of brands seem to try and get their fingers in all the pies. Actually, they would sell to Amazon, they sell to third party, they sell direct to the website. They try and have every single finger in the pie. And we're working with a few like that, and they're some of the brands. This is the brand that actually wants to launch in Germany, but they have their finger in every single sort of way of doing it. So yeah, that's definitely a possibility of brands once you build those listings up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Caitlin's asked, can you talk a little bit more about your bonus scheme and targets for your warehouse staff?
Yeah, sure. So at the moment, so a FBM order is worth 2.5 points. An FBA order, but not order, so like a unit that they pack to send to Amazon is worth 1 point. They have over 2 weeks. We basically tally how many orders have been direct to FBM and tally how many orders have been sent to the Amazon fulfillment centers. We add all that up and then times the FBM order by 2.5. It gives us a total. And then using our time clocking software, we'll work out the total hours worked, and then we will divide that total by the total hours work, and then times that by 7.5, which will give us a sort of daily amount. And then the incentive is if they reach 360 points, which is 360 units to Amazon, or whatever, divided by 2.5 of orders to the customer, they'll get 5% bonus. If they reach 400, they will get 10% bonus. So it's basically they can, on average, do 400 units per day sent to Amazon. They can get a 10% bonus. We're constantly sort of upping it and fiddling around with it. We haven't got the right one, but we always want to increase targets. As for instance, we brought in the stock controller very recently. Of course, his job is to enable people to give more output. So then you have to increase your targets a little bit. So they always got to aim. It wants with bonuses. It wants to be easy. You can get it, but not too easy. If that makes sense. You want a nice middle where it's hard to get, but it's not impossible. And also, you shouldn't. For me, I'm glad to pay that bonus because I know that they've put that extra output in, right? And that's why I do it off actual real data and the actual hours they've worked. That's the way I do it, and we do it every 2 weeks, which is in line with their payroll. I recommend it. It's cool. It's just another way to so you can track your data, right? And it's just like another metric to know how you're doing and how your business is doing, right? Yeah. So your warehouse bonus is driven.
So I have a bonus scheme, but mine's a bit more simple than yours. We just have a 10% profit share. So whatever the net profit is, we split it between 10%, and every staff member is allocated a set percentage based on the seniority in the company. So it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think 3 is the most they can get, and they get a set percentage of the bonus.
Is that a yearly bonus?
It's a yearly bonus, yeah.
Of your net bonus.
Net
is that
profit,
before or after dividends?
Before dividends.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, before tax and dividends. So they're getting 10% of what they've made, essentially, I would say.
So my pick and pack. That's my pick and packers are only on that scheme. The higher up people are not on it, but the manager, I was thinking about adding some sort of profit sharing, which would be similar to that. I think not 10% for him. That'd be a lot. But that's a good way to do it as well. I think for the higher up people, but pick packers, I like the regular every 2 weeks bonus, because in my head I think it's sooner away. If it's a bonus that's a year and a half away or wherever, like a year away, they might forget about it, right? But if you're paying them 2 weeks extra, an extra 40, 50 quid, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
Yeah. I don't think that the beauty of doing it, and there's pros and cons to doing it. It's difficult to motivate them for something that's a year away. But the thing is, when it does happen, because it's a lump sum, it's more impactful. If we make 100 grand profit and they've got 3% profit share, they're going to get 3 grand bonus. And if their wages double in that month, that's way more impactful than me giving them, like you say, £100 a month extra, also £300 a month extra, whatever it would work out to be. So I think it's much more impactful doing a lump sum one-off bonus at the end of the year.
It's interesting because pick packers, it's such a high turnover. Well, Amazon's got a huge high turnover, so I guess you are helping incentivizing the staff to stay with you for longer by delaying the bonus. But the every 2 week thing, I guess, keeps it more on it. But yours probably promotes longevity. Longevity, that's probably not the wrong word, but people staying with you.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just I think mine's more for senior staff. We don't have a pick and pack bonus. We just have a company profit share. I think it's nice as well because people they don't feel resentment in the same way. If there's all this money being made now, I don't know about you, but commerce is not going to make you a billionaire anytime soon. But if you are making good money, then people can feel resentment towards you if you start rocking up in a 50 grand car or whatever. So when they feel that they're getting a share of that, then I feel they're much more. I like to say everyone wins together, and I say to them, you say, look, the more money that you make, the more money you earn, and it's not just there's no ceiling to what you can earn. If you make me £1 million, then you'll get a decent bonus,
Yeah, and I think with our business as well, like the main driver of growth is those guys out there on the floor, on the warehouse floor, and that's the prep center. You're not in control of that, and with your own warehouse team, you're fully in control and fully responsible for getting the most out of your team, who will drive your business to the next level or take it down. So prep centers, that's probably one of the things where not in control of it, and it's a big factor, just making sure you motivate them.
Definitely. Peter's asked me a question. He says, interesting your managers earn more than you. Would you ever feel tempted to be a manager for somebody else? Absolutely not. No. It's not about the money though, is it? I think the same for you. There's more to running a business than just the money. It's not just about money. If I wanted to earn loads of money, I might as well just go and be an investment banker or something. I wouldn't be in this game if I was trying to make as much money as possible. But
profits also go into buying more inventory, right?
Yeah.
So your money and the money you're making is going to more inventory. So it's different. Like they're making more not physical, like actual cash, but you're making more money by keep pumping up those inventory numbers, right? So, that is different, isn't it? As an entrepreneur, the value of your company is going up versus actually a paycheck that you get every month, right? So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
A few people have commented saying that you pay very well for VAs, so fair play to you. But I think that's also important. Paying fair across the board is important. If you want good people, you've got to pay fair.
It's pretty standard. It's 25,000 Filipino pesos. Yeah, I think so. I can't see that comment.
So it's from Peter. Says major respect for paying VAs decent salary. I know some are paying them far less.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Maybe in
Cindy
different
says your buy sheet is pretty awesome as well. Yeah, it does sound pretty cool.
So yeah, Cindy, that's a different buy sheet to what I'm talking about. For mine, it's more a lot of the software we have, templates we have is fitted to our business, but the buy sheet you have is pretty cool for a very standard sort of inventory management. I used to sell this I think I still do sell it. It's like a buy sheet, which has got a few different like Google Sheet scripts and stuff like that. It's actually really good value, but I didn't really ever push it that much. But it's just pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, we just not cut all your VA salaries.
Yeah. I'll be on Slack after this course saying you're demoted. He just said.
I've realised I'm paying you too much, so here's a pay cut.
Yeah.
Caitlin's got a quick one. She says, so your warehouse bonuses are driven by the business sales purchases, business sales loss purchases by your purchasing team.
Okay, so it's interesting. The key to this is you always want an FBA shipment on the go. So not really. So the staff never have an excuse not to meet their bonus because there is never an idle time. As long as there's always FBA work to do, there's always something to do in the warehouse, right? So my goal is to always make sure there's stuff to send to FBA, right? So, you want a sort of 2-3 day backlog of FBA, even more sometimes. So yeah, of course, it's sort of driven. It's not driven, but it's enabling them to make sure they do their bonus to meet those bonuses. But we do I actually have a clause in my warehouse in my bonus incentive scheme saying if there is a case where that day there was no stock, then it won't count towards your bonus. But for the time of 9 months I've been here, we've always had FBA, and that's one of the most important things I'd say is, and also the difficult things actually when you have your own warehouse, you start having staff, your stuff gets turned around a lot quicker. Prep centers could be, I don't know how long it is, 3-5 days, sometimes up to a month. If they're backlogged over Christmas, they could be crazy busy. People can do a pallet in half a day here. They can do 1,000 units in a day, so you got to constantly have 1,000 units available to send to Amazon every day, right? The beauty of doing FBM is that obviously they spend a lot of time doing that as well. But yeah, you need a lot of capital, a lot of investment to make sure there's always stuff to do, always stuff to prep. And that's, I guess, when you got suspended, that's the massive problem because you have all these idle staff being like, what do I do? Like clean it twice and I don't know.
Just tidy up. We've already
tidy up
twice today.
Tidy up for 5 days.
Do it again.
Yeah. So that's my anxiety. I actually get not anxiety, but I always think and always kind of and it's why it really drives you to grow the business and reach out, get more capital, get more funding, make sure your cash flow is right, make sure you're selling properly, make sure sales are okay, and make sure everything is flowing because you do need that constant flow of stock. And luckily at the moment we've never had a time where we haven't had enough FBA. You'll find in the warehouses actually that there's peaks and troughs. Sometimes like last Friday, my manager and stock control was like, oh my god, like it's a container came in, all the other stocks are here, and it's just like overloaded. A few days later, the warehouse feels empty. It's because it's just that FBA scaling, and you just want that constant flow.
You feel a responsibility as well to the staff, don't you? There's a bit of a responsibility.
Yeah, they get bored. Like if there's nothing to do, like the FBA and the batches and FBM, the time ticks. So there's not much to do. They'll just be like, fuck, like, is he still running this business? So you want that constant, that warehouse to feel busy, right? And, idle staff time will be a profit killer for sure. Yeah,
definitely. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I know you've been very generous with your time. I don't want to take too much of your time because I know you've got things to do. So thank you very much for your time today. It's been amazing. Very, very insightful chat. I hope everyone's got an awesome amount of value out of that about warehousing, inventory. I mean, Jonny even puts me to shame on his systems. You've got some incredible systems, incredible setup going on. So where's the next goal then? Just one final question. Where are you going? What's the plan for this year, next year?
Yeah, I want to reach 2 million in revenue, pounds, not dollars. By the end of this year. I know it's all very like monetary sort of number sort of thing, but maybe 2-3 years I want to get to sort of 5 million sort of area. I think that might be a nice sort of sweet spot. And then I think once I've scaled a lot, I want to concentrate more on profitability. It's weird actually because you asked me that question. My goals like a few months ago was for me to not have to be in the warehouse. and then to make sure everything comes into the warehouse and it's all done properly, and I don't have to worry. I've kind of got there now, so now I need new goals. So now it's just basically improving systems, launching a private label brand, potentially launching a software company. I don't know yet, because we'll see. I don't know yet, because I think there's, like you said, there's a massive gap for what I think I can offer with the software I have if I make it commercially viable. And just improving systems, and I want to be a top 100 Amazon seller as well by the end of the year as well. Private label, improve systems, potentially a software product, travel more, get in shape, just sort of standard things.
But personal goals often get forgotten, don't they? People go, "Oh, I want to do this, 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 and this." And it's like, well, personal goals are very, very important as part of what you want out of life, and not just business goals.
Yeah. So the first 6 months in a warehouse where you're trying to learn everything and be like, how do I do this? What's going on? You're constantly in the warehouse and constantly 16 hours a day working, because you're running the warehouse and you're also running the back end of the business. So you forget about your personal, you forget about holidays, you forget about looking after yourself, and you end up ordering like Papa John's, don't you? Instead of sort of eating properly. And then once you hire a team, and then you can sort of chill and start to work on the process and systems, and then you can sort of look after yourself, because wealth is health, whatever they say, right? Health is wealth.
Exactly. Health is wealth. You haven't got your health, you haven't got any wealth.
So my biggest goal right now actually is to cut weight. I'm about 96 kg right now. I want to get 3 years ago I was like 80 kg. So main goal, personal goal.
I think we all were. Pre-lockdown. I think we all were.
Pre-lockdown weight. Yeah. Cool. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, man.
No problem. Thank you very much for today. Thanks for your time. I say absolutely amazing guy, amazing chat. So thank you very much, and I hope everybody really enjoyed it. So I will see you all next week for next week's Never Mind the Buy Box. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Cheers, guys.